Welcome back to Fire Only. Today we are playing through the chapters from 1.2 all the way to 1.4, that's 3 chapters. We're starting out with 1.2, which is probably my favorite story in the entire game. It's also one of the longer ones, so we'll be skipping through it a lot. In the story, we are sent into the Hollow, where we have to play DPS Billy. Now, the Sons of Calydon faction has a lot of fire agents, which means that in this story we get to play a lot of them, such as Lighter. To fully understand why Lighter calls Billy brother, it took all the way from 1.2 to 2.8 to get the full history behind it. It was speculated on before that, but it was never confirmed. DPS Lighter shouldn't really be too difficult to play. In general, playing stun characters as DPS is very player friendly because even though they don't deal a lot of damage, you don't really have to worry about getting hit because you can just stun enemies most of the time.
You hurt? Sorry. We got a little carried away.
Welcome to the outer ring. May you rise from the ashes.
Casa, one of the prettiest NPCs.
I brought the proxy to say hi.
Sure, let's play DPS Lighter with Lucy as support, that works.
Be gone! There it is. Gotcha now.
We make light work of the average mobs in this stage, and after that we do the mini-boss of... What was the guy called again?
You smug jerk! It's me, Bellum!
Oh right, that guy.
You cocky bastard! Just because you're handsome, skilled, happier, and handsome, you think you can just forget my name?
Wait, did he just... Back down.
Feeling fired up? Man, stop yelling my name like that. Sounds weird.
And this is the second commission where we play with Bernice. I'm assuming this is still unbuffed Bernice.
Seeing you like this really brings out my predatory instincts.
So soft. So warm. No, can't you do...
We shoo away the cat.
We haven't had enough fun yet! Damn it!
How come this monster is
The
so
enemies are
strong?
tired! Keep it up!
I guess we're playing DPS Lucy this time because the ordering of things is not very nice.
Go, huh? Smash like an out of the park home run! Lucy...
I don't understand why Lucy did not trigger a chain attack there.
Casa!
I think playing DPS Lucy is just the easiest way out. Otherwise we keep having to reset because Piper is next in order for the quick assist with Lucy. And lastly, we send Morse flying.
Back down!
Feeling fired up?
After all that action, we go on a date with Caesar, I guess. To be honest, I kind of forgot about this dating scene. I wish we could change the order of the agents, because I would prefer Lucy to have her quick assist into lighter.
Alright, we're in the hollow.
This is also the mission where we get to ride motorcycles. I honestly thought we would be doing more with this mechanic in the game. Maybe in the form of an event or something, but it was just a one-time thing for this mission.
Piece of cake. The ground's shaking. Everyone!
After a short intermezzo of playing DPS Caesar, we get to go back and play Lighter and Lucy, even though I did forget for a moment. Oh right, I'm supposed to be playing the fire characters. That's interesting, they changed the team order from what we saw in the commission screen versus what we actually get to play. Because now Lucy is actually in front of Lighter. I still have the shield from Caesar from the earlier fight where I didn't have the rest of the team yet, but apparently that carries over. Interesting. I'm afraid that 1.2 update is going to be one of the last times where we get to play all of these fire trial characters.
Barry, how's the situation at Cinder Lake looking?
Soon enough it will just always be non-fire characters, and I'll have to
I have also detected that Cinder
play some really unorthodox characters, I'm afraid.
I knew it! Cinder Lake is in trouble.
And to close out the chapter, we have the fight against Pompey, who still has one of the coolest boss transitions and is still one of my favorite bosses to fight in Deadly Assault. Just a very fun boss.
What?
Now, the first phase is very easy and I took it down in a single stun window.
Catch this one!
I pledge my honor!
Rafty with home run!
It's go time. Again.
Now, the second phase did take a second stun window, but you have to realize that for a team with Lighter at this stage, the second stun window means there's maybe 10 or 20 seconds in between. That was a very easy boss compared to the one we just played with Seth. Now, this cutscene I watched quietly, because back when it first released, when I played it during 1.2, this was the moment where I realized, okay, yeah, this game has something, this makes me feel something.
at me like that. Because I'll start to feel afraid.
I want to take a moment to emphasize how good this story is, and I know I'm ruining a emotional moment, I'm sorry for that. But the reason why this works so well is because the character interactions in this story are so good. You really have this feeling of almost a family, found family, between all of these characters. And you as the main character, you're just being thrown into that. And because all of these characters are so complementary to each other, you don't need to end up with a very complex story. Good character writing and a good climax can carry a story to be one of your best. And that is that story finished. We're on to the 1.3 story, which featured Haramasa and Yanagi Soukaku, and of course Miyabi. So Miyabi was gonna get her, the majority of her story is gonna be in the 1.4 story, which was meant to be the big one. 1.4 as the season finale would be a nice one to most likely end the episode on. One of the things I miss about the special episodes is that we would be playing from the perspective of the agents, and we didn't have the perspective of proxies to, alongside it. I think it gives a little bit more of a way of experiencing the world around a character as they see it, instead of the way that the proxies see it. It also gives more opportunity to have interaction between agents that aren't centered around a main character. As in, the main character being the proxy, of course. One of the issues that you see definitely in a lot of gacha games is that you have kind of this pseudo-romantic writing without ever stating it. But if you don't ever have a proxy in your story, if you don't ever have that main character, then you don't have that issue. And that's not necessarily always an issue, it's just a style of writing. But it's a style of writing that's not always my cup of tea.
Well then, let's begin the combat test.
So let's see who we have to play. I'm guessing Soukaku is gonna be our choice for DPS here.
The first batch of
Which is not the worst character to be playing as a DPS, to be honest. Though you do prefer to have her at maximum mindscapes if you were to play her as a DPS. That is probably the most difficult thing about this stage, is the fact that it's very easy to accidentally stun and use a chain attack you don't want. DPS Soukaku is actually pretty fun.
Hollow Special Operations Section 6, Heroes of New Eridu.
So we have this hacker on the TV, right?
Yuriko.
And then we have a conversation with the hacker. But the hacker is supposed to be on this TV. That's where we were chatting with the hacker. But nothing actually is shown anywhere in this level to indicate that something is unusual. And I think that is why I've never really rated this chapter. Because I think the presentation on the story can really take things a little bit better in terms of the environmental storytelling, where once we actually get to the hub or to the levels, we don't have much storytelling going on. It's all verbal, it's all cutscenes, but it's never quite in the overworld. And I've never really been all too impressed by this particular chapter in terms of that environmental storytelling. think the whole thing where I'm not allowed to use chain attacks at any point in these kinds of trial teams messes me up more than actually playing the low DPS character.
Just don't blink! I'm enjoying the fight too.
Apparently you can freeze the unkillable enemy as well. I had no idea if that's possible. I guess we were taking too long. We proceed to play a stage with Yanagi. I think one of the things this quest did well is it made Yanagi feel important, despite also making Miyabi look like the more powerful one. By comparison, Haramasa was never really made out to be very strong, but we know from later on he gets his own agent story where they don't really go into his power or his importance in the team, but more so about his past and try and sell the character that way. So it's, as a group of people, it's a very nicely balanced group in terms of different types of stories that all make them feel distinct and interesting and significant for the team. And after that also the final boss, which, yeah, that was not that interesting. I'm afraid I don't have too much to say about this chapter in retrospect. I already addressed one of my issues that I had with it about the environmental storytelling. One thing I do have to give credit for is that this is a faction story that very well showcases the complementary characteristics of these characters, and I do enjoy that aspect of not so much this story but the interactions that permeate throughout, not just during this story but also some of the more casual content on the side.
Checkmate.
How'd you manage to dodge? And you're going down with me!
You can go alone.
Now that that chapter is done, we can head over to the 1.4 story, which was also the Season 1 main story finale, and it was also the story that revolved around Miyabi. We get thrown into the Outer Ring Hollow for a second time now.
Calculate an escape route. We'll need to find more data. Thanks to you, Miss Miyabi, we haven't had any trouble.
I never noticed these ethereals just running in circles in the background.
Doesn't feel
It's a nice detail.
the ether activity nearby.
We get to play a little bit of DPS Miyabi, which, yeah, turns out Miyabi is strong. Playing Miyabi has me feeling the opposite of this cutscene. This is the first time we've gotten a trial team in a while. Then we get a Haramasa tutorial for something where we don't play Haramasa. Interesting. I'm going to miss Brahman. I think Brahman has to be the most memorable villain that we have. Not because he's strong, but just because he's so recognizable and because he's given a proper personality.
There should be a spatial fissure nearby. We can use it as a shortcut to save time.
Like the pathetic man
Is this the way out of
villain type It's just fun, it fits the vibe of the game. A lot of the later bosses we've received, and the villains we've received, have been far more self-serious. We get to the ending of the chapter by first fighting on a train,
The Hoshimi family
I
has
think
a
we've got
long
ethereals
heritage.
approaching.
with a few too many voice lines playing at once.
Generation of void hunters.
Then we fight Miyabi's inner demons.
After defeating the enemy, is it going to change again? Are these people citizens?
It doesn't work. At last we get to Port Elpis for the finale, where we get to fight against Bringer.
Just don't blink!
For the initial battle we had to play DPS Soukaku, which honestly I didn't mind all that much. It's a good thing we have an ice anomaly agent to go up against Bringer, if we're gonna count Soukaku as an ice anomaly. Probably not on the correct build, but it's fine. Where are we meant to go here? We're meant to attack the thing? Now I let the revive item go off in this fight because there was no healing given in between and I was not interested in playing that again.
We have to stop him.
Should we take a detour?
Are these voice lines still missing? They haven't added these voice lines? They had those ones, but not to the cutscene. I guess the technology isn't there.
Something's wrong with Bringer.
That was a cool synth. We then went on a quiet stroll, looking for a little bit of food for Soukaku.
Section 6. Operation start.
After meeting some of our allies, it was time for the final boss.
Careful, everyone.
I think we're supposed to play Haramasa here then? I would have preferred to play Soukaku, to be honest.
So sturdy. Everyone, watch out for those strange eyes.
The first attempt did not go so well.
Please refine me! Let them be refined!
Everyone, watch out for those strange eyes.
I don't know what I get hit by.
Indicate strong ether fluctuations there.
This guy's attacks won't stop.
What's happening here is that with Haramasa you want to do his long basic attack string to spawn quivers on field, because that lets him do a high damaging move. But the boss is unrelenting and now you fail to get to the end of his combo without getting hit. This honestly was not a fun challenge to do. I'm not sure if this is dodgeable.
Creator, give me your blessing!
Why is Haramasa even on this team? Yeah, okay, we don't have disorders with Haramasa, so I guess we'll just play this phase out. Hitbox and that was not good. Now on this second attempt we did manage to get to the stun window.
Ever heard the whistle of arrows in flight?
Let's retry and see if we can do it without losing a life. I had 2 more unsuccessful attempts before this one, and this one ended up being one of the longer attempts. Let's see how well I did.
By inflicting disorder on him, we should be able to stop him.
Here I use his iframes from his EX special, and then go into his ultimate.
Pathetic one now. Break away in one hit. Close combat isn't my thing.
I don't know what happened here, but I think the game might have not wanted to give me those dash attacks. We got very close to breaking the hand. If I had an ultimate I would have been able to do it. Now at about a minute in I was already pretty low HP, and it was only gonna get worse. In the end I only had a lick of HP left, which meant I had to be flawless. Then the boss went into his hand phase, but this time I had my ultimate.
Combat isn't my thing. Ever heard the whistle of arrows in flight?
And breaking the hand would let us get closer to that stun. Here I want to go into my dash attacks, but for some reason the geometry of the level blocks me, I think. I really don't like playing Haramasa. Of course okay, sure. At this point I was just done. This whole fight took me 13 minutes with retries, and honestly I had more fun playing DPS Seth that one time than playing Haramasa, even if he does deal more damage.
We are not afraid of you!
This cutscene is cool, but I do realize that if you didn't watch that animated short on YouTube, you would have no idea what was going on with that. What are these flashbacks? I'm not a big fan of storytelling that relies on external material. Just make it part of the game, please.
Seriously? Talk about showing off.
I wrote down my thoughts on this story when I played it the first time, and I honestly stand by my feelings of this chapter being overrated. As climax for the season, it jumped all over the place, where I had no clue what was going on at times. It's like they skipped over exposition with who, what, where. Often enough, the only explanation you're getting is a black screen with a text telling you what happened, not showing you a thing. at least in previous chapters, you were involved with the happenings, but that's not what happened here. What I dislike even more is how it failed to tie anything together. Just very loose, we're all allies of the proxy, thus we are here, without the motive of the people involved being tied back to their respective storylines. It's also kind of short. It's not like they had too much story to fit in there. There's the Miyabi story arc and the climax of 4 chapters condensed in a few missions. It's just a lazy combination of people. For example, the Cunning Harris or Calydon could have been expanded upon by having the crescendo to Bringer's politics, who Bringer was established as the assured villain, far too immediate for my tastes. Victoria Housekeeping's inclusion did not involve the Twin Towers here. They really were only good for a phone call in the story. Sons of Calydon are just the designated drivers. And most egregiously, the cop characters could have had an actual investigation into Bringer. But all of these are treated as minor plot points only to happen off screen, instead of tying the season together and tying all these stories together. In hindsight, I realize my expectations were too high, and I've definitely been able to enjoy more Zenless and Zero content by lowering my expectations. The Miyabi story was cool though, short but effective in tying it to the story chapter. A good way to phrase my thoughts is, I feel like the story was too focused on creating new loose ends for the continuation of the story, instead of this climax actually being a good conclusion to the season. That's why I felt very disappointed by it at the time of playing. Anyways, that was my retrospective. Let me know what you thought. Next up, we'll be heading to the Astra and Evelyn story as well as the epilogue in the next video.